In the 86th edition of the Iron Bowl, the 6-5 Auburn Tigers took the field as they welcomed in the 10-1 Alabama Crimson Tide to Jordan-Hare Stadium. Heisman candidate Bryce Young looks to keep the one-loss Crimson Tide's playoff hopes alive as they will face a fearful Auburn team that is looking to spoil that opportunity. After two quick 3-and-outs for both teams to start the game, T.D. Moultrie brings down quarterback Bryce Young to record the Tigers' first of 7 sacks they will have on the day. Bryce Young then settles in and steps up in the pocket as he throws a dart to Jameson Williams for a gain of 34 yards. However, the Tide's offense would stall out and be forced to punt the ball. On to the second quarter we go, and the Tiger defense continues to give the Crimson Tide's offensive line all kinds of trouble. This time it's Kobe Wooden getting the sack for the Tigers. On the very next play, the Crimson Tide face a 3rd and 12 as Young drops back and looks deep and then is forced to roll out to his left, where he is met by Derek Hall, who brings him down for a 2-yard loss on the play. Following their third 3-and-out of the game, Alabama was forced to punt once more. Their leading receiver, Jameson Williams, was called for targeting on the play, and they will now be without Williams for the remainder of the Iron Bowl. With a 15-yard penalty, the Tigers look to strike first with great field position. On 3rd and 15, T.J. Finley connects with Demetrius Robertson, who makes an incredible play and sets the Tigers up with a 1st and 10 on the Alabama 15-yard line. On the very next play, T.J. Finley throws a screen pass to Kobe Hudson, who makes a man miss and strides into the end zone to score the first points of the game. Hudson brings out the Karate Kid as the Tigers take a 7-0 lead with just 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Alabama, now desperate to get the ball moving, just could not get it to happen as Smoke Monday sacks Bryce Young for a loss of 8 on the play. Monday breaks out the Karate Kid as well following the sack. Following a block in the back penalty, the Tide faced a 3rd and 27 where Young dropped back and couldn't get away from the pressure as he is sacked once again by Derek Hall. The Crimson Tide still remain scoreless in the game. The last possession of the half, the Tide looked to cut the lead, but the Auburn defense would not let that happen. And for the first time since the national championship game in 2018, the Crimson Tide would be held scoreless for an entire half. After another 3-and-out for the Tide to start the third quarter, sophomore Ben Patton, replacing starting kicker Anders Carlson, attempts a 49-yard field goal that goes right down the middle to give the Tigers a 10-0 lead over the third-ranked Crimson Tide. On 3rd and 13, Bryce Young tries to escape the pressure once more and throws a desperate heave down the field, which is picked off by Darius Knighton. That would mark just the 4th interception thrown by Young on the season. With just 12 minutes to play, Alabama decides to go for it on 4th and 2, and a bad snap about the center causes the Crimson Tide to turn the ball over on downs. Auburn still holding on to a 10-0 lead has Jordan-Hare Stadium rocking. On the next play following the turnover, T.J. Finley tries to force a pass into coverage, which is then picked off by Josh Jobe for the first Auburn mishap of the game. On 1st and 10 from the Alabama 42-yard line, Brian Robertson takes the handoff and goes 37 yards down the field all the way to the Auburn 21-yard line. Alabama starting to gain some momentum late in the game. Facing a 3rd and goal from the 7-yard line, Auburn comes up with a huge stop as Derek Hall records its 3rd sack of the game, forcing Alabama to settle for a field goal. Will Richards sets up for the 30-yard field goal and drains it right down the middle. With just 9 minutes remaining, Auburn leads 10-3. Following an Auburn punt, Alabama faces a 4th and 2 with just 2 minutes remaining in the game. Trey Sanders tries to rush up the middle and is stuffed. Alabama comes up short and gives the ball back to Auburn with only 2 minutes remaining. Alabama then forces a 3-and-out, but punter Oscar Chapman pins the Crimson Tide all the way down at the 3-yard line. Bryce Young will have to lead the Tide 97 yards down the field with 1 minute and 35 seconds on the clock with no timeouts remaining. Following 2 incompletions to start the drive, Bryce Young looks deep and connects with John Mechie on 3rd and 10 for a 22-yard gain to give the Crimson Tide new life. With just 1 minute remaining, Bryce Young connects with Ja'Cory Brooks on a deep out route for a 21-yard gain and another Alabama first down. With just 24 seconds remaining, Bryce Young steps back and looks to the end zone where he connects with Ja'Cory Brooks for a 28-yard touchdown to tie the ball game at 10. Just 24 seconds remaining, Auburn decides to take a knee, and for the first time in Iron Bowl history, we are going to overtime. With the first possession in overtime, Bryce Young steps back and completes a 6-yard touchdown pass to Slade Bolden to give the Crimson Tide their first lead of the game at 17-10. Facing a 3rd and goal and just 2 opportunities remaining to tie the game, T.J. Finley connects with Landon King for a 5-yard touchdown to send the game into a second overtime tied at 17. In the second overtime, the Crimson Tide sack quarterback T.J. Finley on 3rd down, forcing the Tigers to kick a 49-yard field goal. Ben Patton kicks it, it's up, and it's good to give the Tigers a 20-17 lead. On Alabama's possession in the second overtime, the Tigers force Bryce Young to throw 3 incompletions to set up a field goal to tie the game. Following an Auburn timeout to ice the kicker, Will Richards from 37 yards out to send the game into a third overtime, and he does. The game is now tied at 20. In a sudden death overtime from the 3-yard line, Bryce Young connects with John Mechie to give the Crimson Tide a 22-20 lead with the conversion. With just one play to tie the game up, TJ Finley rolls to his right and then throwbacks to his left to John Samuel Shanker, who has blockers and fights his way into the end zone to tie the ball game back up at 22 and to send it to a fourth overtime. In the fourth overtime, TJ Finley fakes the handoff and surveys the field and then throws it into the end zone where it is batted away, and the Tide are left with one chance to win the game. From the 3-yard line, Bryce Young looks to his left and hits John Mechie on a zig route to keep the Crimson Tide's playoff hopes alive. Alabama fights back after down 10-0 to beat the Tigers in a fourth overtime with a final score of 24-22. The now 11-1 Crimson Tide will travel to Atlanta, Georgia next week to face the top-ranked Georgia Bulldogs in the SEC Championship. The loss for Auburn drops them to 6-6 on the season and leaves the seniors with a heartbreaking loss on Senior Day. From Auburn, Alabama, Thomas Lynn Murphy, Eagle Eye TV.